Are we in perfect frame? I can't even tell.
I don't know.
I think we are. We're close enough anyway. Let me see. That's better. All right. Hey guys, welcome back. We're playing, I forgot to tell them last episode what we were playing. We're playing Vampire the Masquerade, something of New York.
Coteries?
Coteries, whatever. It's a word I'll never remember. Okay. I wanted to ask this before and I forgot. Am I able to control how much I take from her? Like, does the game give me that option?
Not really.
Fuck.
But, I mean, it goes with context, so, like, I'm pretty certain that if you drink from her, you won't kill her.
I'm more worried about, well, that too, obviously, but, like, I'm also worried about causing a scene.
I mean, everyone's attention's on your patron.
Yeah, and all it takes is one, oh, for everybody to look, oh, wait, girl orgasming. Let's see what that's about more. Alright, anyway. You take her forearm in your hands. A quick look around confirms nobody's watching and no security cameras cover this area. You bite down gently. It's surreal. She's just giving you her blood of her own volition. How is this possible? What about the Masquerade? You need to ask Sophie. Your thoughts disappear amidst the bliss. There's just the taste, sweet, fresh, sanguine, I think. You drink. And drink. And drink. No, stop! You tear away from the girl harder than you wanted. Still, the bite leaves just tiny punctures, almost as if insect.
By instinct.
By instinct. Okay, thank you. You lick them clean, and the two holes become concealed, just like that. Julie is now leaning on the wall, pale, wobbly on her feet, but happy. She lets out a dreamy sigh, opens her eyes. A few tears fall onto her shirt. Tears of joy? Thank you. Please, can you walk me downstairs? Please, my dad, he doesn't know. Thinks it's a condition. Ms. Langley told him so. She leans on you and requests you walk her over to a bench. She takes a seat and smiles at you. The crowd around Sophie disperses slowly. Looking at her now, only some residual awe hangs in the air. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure, but not your type. What came over you before? You walk over to her.
Edgar, dear, it's been splendid talking to you, but we need to get going. Give Julie my best wishes. Come with, Jack Deth.
Gregory is waiting for you out front. It's only in the car that Sophie addresses you.
I can tell from your look that you took the opportunity. Good for you. That girl's exquisite, don't you think?
I don't want to answer that.
You wouldn't tell by her demeanor, but she has so much passion. It brings out a unique bouquet in her blood.
I don't like how she's talking about her like a wine. It feels all wrong. I feel like I violated her, like I took advantage of her.
Oh, please, spare me your dramatics. I'm sure she was happy sharing herself. She's such a sheltered girl. Let her have fun from time to time. Time for the next stop. Training wheels off this time. Gregory, Flushing Meadows, please.
I don't like that name. That sounds gross. The driver takes the car over to Williamsburg Bridge. You settle your thoughts. Flushing for what?
Other than the fact the Unisphere is beautiful at this time of night, it's a great hunting ground on which to try out some of the talents of the blood. We all have our talents. Some of them come from the legacy we inherited from our sire. Others can be learned with experience. I can sway people and make them fear me. I see more of the world and in greater detail than some kindred. I can will my body to move with unparalleled precision and grace, and more. All of these skills make me who I am. They also help me hunt.
So you're saying that it's best to use these talents when hunting?
They are useful, certainly, but their utility is universal. Survival, violence, intrigue, entertainment, and pleasure, too, some nights. Always keep the masquerade in mind, however. It is all fine if you can disappear in plain sight or command animals with your mind, but save those overt talents for the right place and time.
It only takes you half an hour to reach the park at this time of night. Both you and Sophie leave the car, with Gregory left behind again to find a parking spot and keep an eye on the car. Sophie seems deep in thought. She takes in the surroundings with a dreamy gaze. The sky is surprisingly clear tonight. The stars just barely visible in the light-polluted aura of the city.
I feel like having a snack myself. I'll be at the fountain. Go look for someone to your liking. See what effects you can achieve with your blood. But only pick one victim. Just one. Then come back.
Seeing how she seems not altogether here right now, you decide to leave Sophie to her own devices and seek out your prey. From here, it looks like you have a few choices. Just taking a stroll around the park and finding an isolated jogger or someone like them could work, but focusing on one area might work better. The New York State Pavilion might work as a secluded spot. There's a skate park nearby. In worst case scenario, there's bound to be some unfortunate wine all around. Or maybe a tennis court nearby. There's light coming from there, so somebody might still be playing a late night match. They won't be alone, but they might be tired and let their guard down. As these scenarios play out in your mind, you realize you're planning how to assault a stranger in the middle of the night. It's a weird way to be, but the now familiar hunger prompts you to act. I'm basing my choice on the fact that I'm not going to kill someone, and it's supposed to give that person pleasure too.
Okay.
You decide the tennis courts are a good place as any, and make your way to the bright glow of the lamps illuminating the area. As you guessed, a pair of players, two men, fit but older, maybe pushing 60, are finishing up a match. They're the only ones there. It's time to make a move. I wish I knew what these icons meant.
Okay, so the top icon is...
Straight up feeding.
It's feeding. The second one is using a vampiric power.
Alright, let's try it. You think back to what Sophie did in the hall, how she managed to focus the attention of the entire gathering on her. That might be a tall order for you, but a single person could be doable. You wait patiently until the two men hit the showers, get out, and say their goodbyes. They go their separate ways, and one of them notices you standing there. You immediately grab his attention. Good evening! God, he looks like Santa Claus. Truth be told, I've had better ones. Sorry to hear that. Anything I can do to help? You decide there won't be a better moment to strike. Moving closer, casually at first, then closing the distance in a single leap, you sink your fangs into his flesh. His blood flows fast, and feeling energized, you never expect an invigorating taste like this from a guy who's at least your father's age. You only take as much as you need right now. The thought, though a voice at the back of your mind urges you to keep drinking. Fit or not, you don't want this guy on your conscience if you take too much. You put him on the ground gently and make your way back to Sophie. As you're leaving the cart, a figure emerges from the shadows and stops you in your tracks. A hooded man, looking menacingly at you.
He hearts beer.
You want to do him?
What do you think you're doing barging in on my tuff like this, Lick?
I didn't mean to trespass. Sorry. I'm going.
Too late for that, friendo. You want to leave in one piece, you talk. Candidly, I know what you are, so you can shove that masquerade misdirection up your ass. I don't like my accent.
Well, you're committed now. Let's go.
Now, better tell me who you're with before my posse shows up and we beat it out of you.
Do I know Carmelia?
That's the large overhead group event. If you hit ZL or whatever, it's one of those words that you learned somewhere. I think it's the left one that will give you those words.
I don't know if I want to throw our name out like that. So,
but it's hit.
Camarilla is the bigger group.
It's best if you just read it. It's one of these. Maybe it's not one. Kindred. Go to. Oh, those are all unread. Or no, these are all.
There it is.
There we go.
Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna pick that. I don't want to give a specific name. Chill out. I'm with the Camarilla. He does anything with chill out. He immediately tenses up, gives you an extremely nasty look, and bares his fangs.
You with the ivory tower cons, huh? Well. Tonight's my lucky night. I'ma fuck you up and bring you to Callahan. He'll have some fun breaking your shins, and maybe by the end of it, I'll get to have a nice long sip. I wonder what you taste like, Lick.
He does his best impression of Hannibal Lecter's shtick, but he's not as intimidating as he thinks. See, I don't want to attack him because I feel he's got one up on me. He's been doing this for a while, I have not. And I don't want to run back to Sophie either because I feel like a wimp. Fuck it. I'll use my male pride. You decide the time for talking is over. You rush him, throw him off balance, landing on the ground. He's fast but weak. The brawl takes a bit out of both of you. Suddenly you hear heavy footsteps closing in, and the thug is snatched from over you. He hits the tree hard, and before he can recover, a sharp piece of wood pierces his chest. It's Gregory, Sophie's driver, who deals the blow. The hoodlum is rendered inert. His eyes remain open, but he does not move and does not protest when Gregory pulls him over his shoulder. Miss Langley is waiting for us. Come before your snack wakes up. He points to your victim, who is just coming to, and gives you a somewhat snarky smile, then breaks into a swift walk towards the Unisphere. How did you get here this fast? I was watching you from afar. Miss Langley asked me to look out for you. She suspected you'd get into trouble. He seems to realize he might have said too much, and just keeps walking, somewhat embarrassed. You reach the Unisphere together, with the hoodlum in tow. Two figures are visible near the sculpture, a man and a woman, tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. It's Sophie feeding. But this whole scene is set up so that it looks like a pair getting intimate in public. She pulls it off like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. The man is unsure on his feet as she lets go of him and leads him towards a nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear and leaves him. She nods to Gregory as you approach.
And what do we have here? Did this kindred give you trouble, Jack Deth?
He says something about presenting me to somebody named Callahan. Ever heard of him? She looks shocked for a split second, then recovers. Her regular countess.
Yes, I have. This hoodlum is Anarch, then. Curious. Corona Park has not been claimed by any kindred last I checked. Let's go in the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Quedar tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this unbound's acquaintance.
Gregory carries the staked vampire and dumps him in the car's trunk like a mannequin. It's a strange sight, and you're quite happy you're not in the poor fucker's shoes right now. It's almost surprising that you can get away with just casually throwing a stiff into your car and driving away. But then you remember that Sophie has been doing this far longer than you have. And it's New York. Still, the nagging thought that anything you did tonight could have been recorded on a CCTV camera or picked up by a rando with a half-decent smartphone and streamed online fills you with dread. Hunting and using your abilities is a dangerous business. It's clear that this whole being a vampire thing has about as many caveats as it has perks. Would that have happened regardless?
What do you mean?
That guy showing up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I haven't done all the choices, but whatever I chose differently and got them as well.
All right. You're taken out of your headspace by Sophie's voice.
I will pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium, and I expect you to accompany me. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Quaidar and the Prince. I'm sure he'll have some interesting things to say to the court.
Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she shows off at the gallery earlier tonight. Sophie's clearly a woman of many faces. What's going to happen to him?
The usual, I imagine. Interrogation by Quaidar, probably in the basement of the gallery. A quick trial and the Prince in attendance if she's there tomorrow night.
With the Prince. That's fine.
A swift execution is the verdict.
This all sounds eerily familiar to you, and you can't help but feel a pang of guilt when you think about what awaits this guy tomorrow.
You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting the hang of it, I would hope?
I wish there was a more or less option. I'll need some time to get used to this. It doesn't come naturally.
It will, with time. You need to think about it less. Hunting is the one scenario in which you'll do well to trust your instincts. In moderation, of course.
She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift, and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment.
We will pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night.
Just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory, with a man in the trunk, right in the middle of Manhattan. Did you cross paths with situations like these in the past unknowingly? What other secrets did you pass on the streets without knowing their true nature? Your haven is just as you left it hours ago. Although the sun won't come up for some time, you feel tired. You learned something about yourself today, and it takes time to process. You're not in the mood for television, and the few books on the shelf in the apartment are either in languages you don't speak or sound like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door, a moment of hesitation, but then a decision. This time, you turn off the light. You think back to Julie. How many people in the city know about this vampiric society? How many are willing accomplices in sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park, if he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are there independent vampires? How does that work? More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night when you can start crossing them off your list instead of adding to it. You close your eyes. You sink into a now familiar void of nothingness.
Nice.
Right? It greets you with open arms like an old friend.
Oh.
So,
I was really hoping for the dark.
how deep in are we, would you say?
Not very.
Fuck. Okay.
You're like night 2. There we go.
I hate this image. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark here. The blackness of a coffin, drifting in the abyss. Oh, right, the light. You grasp for the switch, flip it. The familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows comes into view. You emerge from the bedroom, fully awake, just like yesterday. This time, however, Sophie is waiting for you, comfortably seated on the sofa in your living room space, a book in her hand. The Melancholy of Resistance, the title's sure on brand.
Good evening, Jack Deth.
Sorry to have kept you waiting.
To be fair, I haven't been here long. I was enjoying reminiscing about the time when I called this my haven. The decor was much different, of course. Come, we have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle.
She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Is anybody going to sit back here with me?
Most of the Primorgan, most of the Primorgan Council is bound to be there. At least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you'd do well to at least learn about.
You never told me if there's any savior kind of rules I should respect when talking to other vampires.
Knowing that you're among your superiors is probably the most important. In our society, status comes with age. Pardon my sincerity, but you are insignificant.
I like you less now.
Not even associating with me can make the fact that you've been kindred for barely a few nights be forgotten. So know your place. Stay out of your superior's business and show the utmost respect. Thanking the prince for sparing you and maybe having a friendly chat with Kadar publicly might show your gratefulness for being part of the Camarilla now.
We're never going to get that word.
I would suggest you make it sincere. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it.
There it is. She might have saved you. She might be protecting and teaching you. But it's clear that she's really concerned about is her own interests. You stepped into the art hole with something of a bad memory. Last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down and your existence nearly ended. But tonight, there is very little outward hostility. Yes, Quadir gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of your place, but the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you. Welcome, Sophie. Jack Deth, did I get that right? Good evening to both of you. I understand there's somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight.
Yes, Prince. They'll be joining us shortly. My assistant is retrieving them presently.
This better be worth the prince's time, Langley. The prince gives Quaidar a cold glance. Forgive the sheriff's harshness. Damn. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Jack Deth's begetter eluding his grasp, I believe. Ouch, that must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. The mention of your sire makes you come back to all the talk of eschewing societal norms and delusionment with the status quo you enjoyed back at the club. You look at you now, behaved, agreeable, able to speak really big words like you're fucking better than everyone else. Eat a dick, writer.
Yeah, Jack Deth, stop speaking big words.
I have no control over my narrative. She likely wouldn't be too happy with this whole setup. Prince court hierarchy titles, but hey, she's gone, probably forever. If you ever break out of this, it'll be on your own. What the?
You're talking about the person who...
Oh, the okay. I thought he was talking about his ex-girlfriend again. The flaring up of whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room, the jumpsuited Claude, inert vampire still staked in his shoulder. The show is about to start. Sophie's driver places his charge in the middle of the room and nods respectfully to Quadir. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stake from his chest. Waiting. The captive's eyes flicker to life, and he starts looking around in disbelief. Like a cornered animal, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Quadir steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor. Why, who do we have here?
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, come on, don't.
Silence! Sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. I'm done reading ahead of time. The beast inside you shrieks, and you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some of the other guests here tonight. It's unlike anything you've experienced in his company during your turbulent first night as a vampire. He really did go easy on you, all things considered. It seems like it takes all of the hoodlum's willpower to not crawl into the fetal position and start crying.
No, please don't harm me, man, don't!
You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs, at the prince's discretion. Please go ahead, my chef. You heard the prince. Get up. Let's go. He doesn't wait for confirmation. He just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming out of the room. Conversations start all around you, some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks quite bored of the whole affair, her eyes wandering from art piece to art piece, clearly finding nothing to her particular liking. So what happens now?
It'll be at least some minutes before Quidar gets the information he seeks out of this thug. Why not mingle while we wait for him to break? Excuse me.
This writer just wanted to spill out the dictionary. Sophie leaves your side and goes to the corner of the gallery where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gathered. The concierge offers you a drink, still warm. It smells nice. Just a sip to start you off, a splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. I really hate the description. You're left to your own devices. You have a quick look around. The prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman. I don't like how it was said like that. That you recall seeing here those few nights ago. She has a cold but noble portent to her. This conversation seems to be casual. A loud, shrill laugh turns your attention to the bespectacled man who you saw with Sophie on the night of your judgment. He's making the rounds, chatting up different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands alone near the column, watching you. He turns his gaze away sheepishly when he realizes you've noticed. I would like to talk to the prince, but I feel if I let this go, it might become something worse later. There's something about this guy. It's not that he's staring at you. Most everybody in this room has, at one point or another. It's how he does it. He seems shy, maybe even afraid. It's hard to find a secluded spot in the gallery tonight, but this guy has an entire corner of the room all to himself. As you approach, he's standing alone with no glass in hand, a worried look on his face. You look worried. Is something wrong?
What? Besides hanging out with blood-drinking monsters and acting like it's no big deal? No, I guess it's business as usual.
His bitterness is palpable.
Sorry, having a bad night. My name's Larson, or you can call me Robert. Either's fine.
So do you have a role in this court, or are you just here for the company?
Now that's a loaded question. I'm one of Prince Pinhard's permigants. I'm here on business in case the prince requires my insight. Usually, it's so she can hear me out before ignoring me. Not sure if you were paying attention the other night, but when the prince mentioned divergent opinions on whether you could be executed or not, that was me. I was the divergent opinion.
Not that I'm ungrateful, but out of curiosity, what was your reasoning?
My reasoning? Just common sense. That you shouldn't be blamed for being assaulted and essentially murdered to boot. But, as Quidar loves to say the traditions are clear. Listen, I don't want to be rude, and I appreciate you reaching out, but word of advice, stay away from me. Many vampires in this sect regard my position as Primogen to be some kind of joke. You know, you talk to me, they'll notice, and they'll hold it against you.
You have a quick look behind you and see that a few kindred keep shooting you curious glances. One woman in particular, a redhead, boasting a fanciful hairstyle, watches you disapprovingly.
Some of them already do, I imagine. Excuse me, I need to try to get a word in with a few Primogen members before Quidar returns. Enjoy your night.
With just the critical looks of a few kindred to keep you company, you start thinking about who to pursue next. And we'll find out next episode. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.